Hello, I am Derek. I play Derek Knight, and It's Never Cloudy in Colorado. I am also a writer for the show, a creator of the show, a director. I do everything, I do it all. And there was me running away in the background. So this is episode 5 of It's Never Cloudy in Colorado season 1. We are back from our hiatus. If you couldn't tell, we took a mid-season break between the last episode and this one. We have 3 episodes left, including this one for the second half of the season. And so that is the current state of It's Never Cloudy. That's what's coming up. This episode was filmed over the course of quite a while. I believe it's over half a year of shooting. It was from around January or December is when we started filming, and we wrapped in August with our last little cameo. I'm not quite sure when this was filmed, but this sequence was filmed with a lot of the others. A lot of scenes were filmed at this particular day. Now, this episode was a long time coming. It was one of the original episodes I had envisioned for the show way back in the day, and so it's gone through a long development history. It was originally going to be much more of an actual prank thing, going out and actually doing pranks, really innocent pranks, but still actually going out and doing them, and getting people's reactions. And then we were just going to basically craft that into a narrative, and then we decided against that. Then it was going to be much more of a satire on actual prank channels and the way current prank channels are, where we were going to explore the idea of, like, Derek is this really twisted prank star. He does these like really cruel pranks that are just mean. And so that was the idea, was that he was going to be doing really mean pranks. And we decided against that for a couple reasons. Number one, Derek's kind of more of a wholesome, lighthearted character. And also, it just wasn't funny or as funny if we were doing it to where he was doing these mean pranks. But you can see some of the original dialogue as if he was doing the mean pranks is still left in here, such as Richard saying, I don't want to be in them because they're mean and twisted or whatever. And that just comes from the original script, where Derek was doing a lot more of just kind of mean pranks that weren't as lighthearted or innocent as the ones he winds up doing. And so we went through a lot of ideas. I don't know why I was so set on this whole, like, it'd be fun to have Derek as this prank star or whatever on YouTube. But we did. We liked that idea, and so we wanted to play with that a little more. Of this idea that Derek has this kind of secret side to him, that he's doing all this stuff in the shadows. And it also gave us a fun opportunity to play around both in universe and in the real world, where we had the ability to go back and film all these pranks and release them on the separate Derek YouTube Prankstar channel, as if Derek was actually uploading on there. And that channel is run by Derek Knight, the character. So we have a lot of fun with that. There's a lot of stuff going on in this scene that's particularly wrong. Richard just stepped on one of our scripts there, crumpled our script, sits on the couch because for whatever reason we decided not to hide it. We also have the microphone in the bottom of the shot. The microphone makes an appearance in like almost every shot of this episode on accident, and we just kind of have to live with that. Also, the basement here, it appears, has not been cleaned up from the filming of Sleepy Gary 2. As you can see, the vacuum cleaner is still attached to Cam's bed, meaning Carrie has recently tied Dalton up to the bed.
I got a present for you. Whoa. Back up. He's badass though, right?
Here's a little standoff scene that we always... I don't know why, but we like the idea that these two characters are in conflict, Derek and Cam. They're like supposed to be best friends, but we do seemingly put them in conflict with each other quite a bit. This is also, I want to say, one of Derek's more interesting episodes. It's one of the only ones where he's driving the story, and that's kind of what we play with here, is Richard feels out of place because he's traditionally the one driving the story, and in this case, it's Derek who's driving the story. So that's kind of where the Richard's storyline in this episode is that he is basically completely useless in this plot, but he keeps trying to force his way into it just because it's not normal for him not to be involved at all. But we do like the idea that Cam and Derek have this kind of back and forth, and so we'll play around with that a little more as the show goes on. And this is also something that Derek has been struggling with the entire season, is he clearly does not like the Always Sunny aspect that Richard is trying to force on him, and he's always trying to fight it. And so here, once again, he's trying to fight that so that he can do his own thing, and Richard just wants to make it like Always Sunny. And this is one of my little favorite parts of the episode here is this little scene with Cam doing karate at the park. I just think it's hilarious. We didn't know where or what we really wanted to do. We just knew that he needed to be doing karate at some point, and so we went out and filmed this, and I think it wound up turning out perfect. And there he does fall there at the end. That's a real tumble. Now this sequence is like the clip show sequence of the episode. It's so odd because it really feels like a kind of clip show where in a show you'd have characters sitting around like, yeah, let's reminisce about the good times, except that in this case you've never seen the good times unless you're subscribed to the Derek YouTube Prankstar channel, in which case then this really is a clip show because you are seeing the clips of what you've already seen. But in the other cases, if you haven't followed that channel, and most people haven't, then this is all new. Which I like that, it works on its own, but it's also a little added layer for those people who kept up with the lore. And this was one of our original pranks that we filmed here, the spider in a cup prank. Now this version is a little bit more streamlined, the one you see here, a little bit more streamlined than the actual version on the channel, and that's okay. This is inspired by a couple pranks. So first of all, for whatever reason, Kyle and I, when writing this episode, took a lot of inspiration from the channel How to Prank It Up, which is like this really lighthearted, wholesome prank channel of just these absurd pranks that would never actually work. And we thought that was just so funny that we had to play around with that. And Dalton's performance here is inspired by iDubbbz's Content Cop making fun of How to Prank It Up. So there's some extra little stuff. Also, you see not only a script there on the couch next to Dalton, the camera is on the nightstand behind him, the tripod is in the shot, and the microphone can be seen under the table. So we really have it all in this one shot. Every single bit of equipment that could be in the shot is in the shot.
Spider?
Wait a second. What the hell is that next one?
Don't pay attention to the fact that Richard is somehow wearing the same shirt in both things.
Alright guys, it's time.
This was one of our later pranks that we filmed, and this is inspired by a true story of my father who did this to his brother. It's a little bit different in the real world story, but we thought it was just so funny that we wanted to work it into the episode. So we took basically his story and converted it into something that we could do with the gang. And again, that is very streamlined compared to how it appears on the original YouTube Prankstar channel. And that's one of my least favorite line deliveries I've ever given right there, is when I say that. But I do like that little bit with Cam. And then here again, it was supposed to be a How to Prank It Up video that Cam was watching where he shows the same prank. However, that video got deleted off YouTube before we filmed this scene, so we had to go with some generic rope through the neck prank. But we just thought it was really funny that Cam is trying to give it a try. He wants to be involved in this so bad that he's going to try, but he's just an idiot, so he can't figure it out. And then this little tangent that he goes off on here is pretty clearly inspired by the stuttering kid who has that famous viral clip of, have you ever had a dream? And then he goes off stuttering. So that's what Cam's doing here. And Derek's just dumbfounded by it.
What? I could be a part of your Prankstar channel?
And Cam's just really trying to force his way into this because he really wants to be a part of it. His heart's in the right place. He just doesn't he doesn't want to do it the way Derek's been doing it.
You follow my lead. Listen to me.
And Derek is, of course, masterminding this the whole time, as we'll find out at the end of the episode, which is why he keeps giving Cam all these chances, which is why there's really a interesting dynamic with the two of them in this episode where in scenes like this and scenes later on at the ping pong table, Derek and Cam will be at odds with each other. They won't necessarily be getting along, whereas when they're out doing the Prankstar stuff, like, other than ignore the fact that we're not walking when this scene starts, that's kind of awkward, but when we're doing scenes like this, we're getting along because it's clearly Derek's just trying to make Cam feel a part of it so that he can get all these mistakes under his belt, except for this one. Apparently was supposed to be a real prank that Cam just ruins.
Back in the Asian prank. Now this is gonna be difficult because it's a well-known fact.
And that is, of course, the channel manager cameoing there in the background. He made the bold proclamation that he would never be in Never Cloudy, and then all of a sudden one day he just asked if he could be in it. So we decided to put him in as the character that Derek attacks here. I don't know what Derek did to him to kill him, but like he's not moving when we cut back or when we reveal him. He's laying perfectly still. So something must have happened there.
What?
And then here is a great tribute to episode 1, the ping pong montage. The same music plays, and Derek's in the same position playing ping pong. Richard's got some of Cam's original dialogue from that first episode here. I don't know why this episode is such a fanfare to the first half of the season, but it really is. There's a lot of references to other episodes and a lot of references to just different things in Cloudy history. So this could have served as a season finale because it kind of is a tribute to what has come before it.
Vietnam. You totally blew up my spot.
Also, if you pay attention here in the background of Cam's angles, that is Sleepy Gary hanging out on the back stretcher there. So he cameos in the episode, as he does in most episodes. I try and hide him in the background of a lot of episodes.
Shut up, Richard.
What about the fact that it's my
And
channel?
there again, Richard's being shut down because he's not supposed to be a part of this story. He's just trying to force his way into it, and Derek and Cam aren't having it.
Listen, I am a natural-born actor. There is no way...
Here again, we have more references to Cam being, an actor, a thespian. It's one of his recurring things throughout the season, something that he really likes. And that's why we have a lot of fun with this, is because Cam's the perfect character to force himself into anything because he's so theatrical and over the top. And this was the last thing we filmed for the episode. I really like this clip. I think this can stand on its own as like its own little short thing because it's a lot of fun. But here we have, of course, Chris Goji Fan, his cameo. Got to slap him in the nose, even though I missed the first time. I missed his nose, which is why I have to slap him twice. But yeah, this was the last thing we filmed for the episode. We knew we wanted Chris to be in it. We had to wait for a time when we could go out there so that we could film with Chris. Because, of course, it's not like we live next door. It's not like we're neighbors. So we have to time that so that we can film cameos like this. So that was the last thing we filmed. And here, of course, is, Cam ruining something else with karate. There's a lot of karate in this episode. And in the first half of the season in general. Now, this streak will be broken in the next episode, I believe. But so far, Cam has done karate in every single episode. It just so happens that he does it like 6 times in this one episode.
Facts. Okay, so now just hear me out.
And this is my favorite little joke or interaction between the two in the episode is this little interaction here with the idea that Cam's going to get this bodybuilder to be his twin. And it's going to be this huge ripped dude. And it's obviously not at all what he is, but he thinks it looks just like him. I think this is great. Also, Dalton does a lot of good reactions and like physical stuff in this that I really like, such as one of these reactions when I tell him that he's not ripped and he shuts me down. I think is hilarious. And then I like when he does like pops his little arm up here in a second as if he's putting his arm on this twin.
Okay, I got this.
Yeah, because I'm not.
All right. He's ripped,
Right.
and I'm ripped.
No.
Yes.
Right there. That's my favorite reaction of his. It was impossible to film this scene. We filmed this scene so many times because it was just making me laugh way too much.
Where are we supposed to find a big ripped dude to play this part?
Obviously, when I'm pumping off at the gym.
There again, Gary's in the background, this time wearing a mask.
I will give you one more shot,
Okay. All right.
but you have to come up with something funny to do.
Let me start over.
Cam's really set on this twins idea. This was one of the last things we filmed for the episode. So this was, filmed on the same day as the reveal we're going to get here at the end. Filmed on the same day as the intro as well. Got a couple How I Met Your Mother references in here as well. There's the She's Not Coming thing, which is a play from the playbook. Richard, earlier in the episode, is reading the playbook. And at the very end, we have like a playbook-style montage
Jeez, I know who you got.
with the same music.
What do you mean?
you little camera boy over there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If I don't see Derek's YouTube stars off YouTube in the next 24 hours, I'm gonna tear your ass apart.
Please no.
Oh shit, dude.
This was the first thing we filmed for the episode, I think. This was one of the first things right here, this shot of Cam and Derek.
You have to delete it. I'm not deleting
It was at least one of the first things we filmed.
what he said to me. He said he was gonna tear my ass open. I can't have that.
I really like that reaction shot. I was very, very specific that we needed that shot. I made us go back and refilm just that one little part because I wanted that from Derek's perspective. Also, not that you can tell, but open on my phone there is, in fact, the YouTube Studio beta of the Derek YouTube Prankstar channel, just to add a little bit of realism to it.
Fine, we'll delete it. Thank you.
But like everything about this whole setup is different. The basement's such a mess compared to how it will wind up. There will later on be another couch that appears. There's all the Godzilla stuff is all in a different order than it previously was. So it just kind of goes through a lot in this episode, just because this was filmed over like 8 months.
Well, you gonna cry? You gonna cry?
And the original other angle of this scene was way more animated from Derek. It was way more obvious that he was faking and that he was like up to something, and so I went with that one because it was a little bit more of a realistic reaction from him that didn't give it away as much. But there, if you look in the background, now the Godzilla stuff is in an entirely different arrangement than it just was in the last scene.
You don't think I'm losing my chisel figure? No, because you never had a chisel.
And my hair goes through a lot in this episode as well. It goes through short phases, long phases, not much middle, but there's a lot of short and long hair alternation between scenes.
Doughy? You think I have a...
This was also one of the last things we wrote. I know it like makes sense, right? You'd write the end of the episode last, but we took a while between writing the rest of the episode and writing this little end bit. So this little ending came a little bit later because we always knew we wanted it. We always knew what we were building towards, but it took a while for us to get to the point where we knew how we wanted to execute that reveal.
When'd you delete your channel? I'll explain to you, okay?
And of course they do have a new couch there because we did get a new couch in the middle of filming the episode, and so we had to wait for like an ability to explain it. Because this was actually filmed after the next episode, which was filmed in between a hiatus of starting this one and ending this one. And so in the next episode, we do have that other couch, and I was very adamant on the fact that we should at least acknowledge it in this episode so that it doesn't just appear in the next one. And this is actually my favorite part of the episode here, where we get the full reveal of what's been going on, where we find out exactly what Derek's been up to. And it kind of makes him seem like a mastermind the way it's edited. It really wasn't working until I was putting the clips in. Even with the music, I didn't think the voiceover and the music were working all that well. And the voiceover was filmed right before finishing the episode and posting it. So the voiceover was filmed really recently. But I didn't think it was working until I was editing all these clips in place. And then once all these clips were falling in place, it was like, oh yeah, it's all coming together. I really like the reveal here at the end that he's been planning on this the whole time.
But it was well worth it. I needed it.
But here you can see, between all the different cuts happening so quickly, the difference in all of our hairs is quite noticeable if you're paying attention to it.
Just in case I was filming.
Oh, and then there's a little hint to the ice cream sandwich prank that is not making an appearance in this episode. And I tried to use a clip once from every episode, except I forgot to add Waitress for some reason. So there's 3 episodes that have clips appear in this montage, and Waitress is sadly left out because I totally forgot about it. But there's episode 2, there's episode 4, and episode 1 already appeared.
The earth, at least, as far as Cam's concerned.
And there's Cam crying. The ending of this episode was a little bit more dragged out originally. There was a lot more of Cam crying, a lot more reaction shots cutting back to him crying and lingering on it. And I cut all those out because it was just taking too much time. And it serves the same purpose here. He's so upset that the channel's deleted that we have him cry. We had Dalton sit there and do this for like a while over time so that we could get these credits in. It's just, I think it works fine, you know. You didn't need the reaction shots of him crying because we have this. Holding on to SpongeBob, burying his face. This was quite uncomfortable to film. It took quite a while. And that's the episode. So, thank you guys for watching. There's the epic finale. I'll see you guys for the next commentary on the next episode.